All right, so I got a little video. As you see, RDC World Mark on the screen. They talking about Bleach. If you know the title, then you know why you're here already. So I kind of was already going to make a video about this type of Bleach topic, but I recently just saw this video that's 2 months old, and it fit perfectly into what I was going to talk about, especially with the comment section, what we're going to get into later. And Mark's sentiment is true. Now, I want to say a couple things and preface a couple things about this video before I get into it, so you can kind of understand more what I'm talking about, right? So, Bleach 1,000 Year Blood War, most recent anime for Bleach. It's been out. It's really good, well received. It's amazing, right? It looks nice. Everybody loves it. In this video, we're gonna hear Mark speak about things. Now, yes, he loves Bleach. I like Bleach. I'm criticizing it. He's criticizing it. The things he say in this video kind of get downplayed by a lot of people for a multitude of reasons. One of the reasons is the simple fact that they're trying to downplay his opinion and critique of the 1,000 Year Blood War, and I'll get into what it is specifically he's critiquing, right? But they're trying to downplay his criticism and critique because of the way he's articulating his analysis of why this arc of Bleach isn't like, it's not like peak Bleach, quote unquote. Everybody's calling this peak Bleach. I'm gonna get into that too. This is not peak Bleach, okay? I'll explain that too, right? So that's one reason. The way he's articulating and explaining it, people are trying to get on him about that, right? Maybe it's the words he's using, whatever. Two, like I said, this arc for Bleach has been animated newly. This manga, this story for Bleach is old. Ended in 2016. Okay, 2016-15 is when the manga ended. A lot of people are just now, and they don't want to admit it, but it's true. Not only have a lot of people in general just started watching anime for real in the past 5 years since the quarantine and all that stuff was happening. Not only have people just now really been getting into anime for the past 5 years, but it goes for Bleach too. A lot of people never watched Bleach before. Okay, they only started watching it because they heard about, the big three and all that sort of shit, because they want to watch anime now. All they watch is the action anime, and they heard about 1,000 Year Blood War coming out and how amazing it is. They go back in time to binge watch old Bleach. Mind you, old Bleach is good, but these new anime viewers, these people who watch anime newly, they're spoiled. They have spoiled minds. Okay, and this is not me just insulting them. This is true. They only care about the action animes, and it's messing up their palate. They go back and watch old Bleach. It's inferior to the 1,000 Year Blood War because of the feats. These were called feats and stuff, right? Because characters aren't dropping meteorites out the sky and all this other shit, right? So it's already subpar to the new shit. Especially because the animation doesn't look like, Demon Slayer or anything that comes out in today's quality. So they're already going to put that subpar, despite the story and the characters and everything else and the situations and all that other shit being solid. I say all that to say, Mark is going to speak about something. Let's hear what Mark has to say first, okay?
So, I caught up on Bleach. I'm not going to say, this is not really spoilers. Bleach is super fucking entertaining, but they literally have the sorriest power scaling. I think it got to be top.
He said they have the sorriest. He said they got the sorriest power scaling, okay?
3 of all anime. Bleach has the sorriest power scaling.
That's just terrible.
I don't know what...
What's going on, bro?
I want y'all to...
Now, hold on, listen now. He's going to reiterate that. I want y'all to know, Bleach my top 5. I'm not just talking shit. Right? So now let's get past to where he starts really talking about it, because all the people leave. We won't talk about spoilers. Spoiler alert, by the way.
Never had regular power scaling in Bleach. It's just
okay, I'm going to break down what he's saying.
They said word for word that they are colder than all the 13 squads of Bleach. Now, I'm going to say this real quick. The captains have never had regular power scaling in Bleach. It's just fight whoever they need to fight and they trash when they need to be cold.
See, listen, what he just said right there, right? The way he's explaining it, it sounds like people just talking and chatting it up, like, oh, this dude could beat this dude. Sound like debate type shit, right? I see a lot of people in the comment section talking shit. Bleach, he wasn't watching Bleach, he was watching Detergent. To give context for Mark on Bleach, he's trying to give him context, bro. These dudes don't make sense, bro. Okay, they're just explaining shit. They're trying to explain shit, but it doesn't make sense. First of all, he is right from the perspective because, first of all, okay, let me talk about the first part. He's going to speak about how the power scaling is something that everybody, if you watch Bleach originally, right? I talked about the people who get on Bleach newly and started watching the hindsight. If you watched and read Bleach originally, this is not brand new news, okay? It's not a big problem. It's not something that breaks the story or breaks the world or your enjoyment of the world. But this shit is not new news, like he said. This shit ain't new. He says that too, right? Like Ichigo being able to get a Bankai in a couple of days when they said that shit take like 300 years to get, bro. Remember, these Soul Reapers are like over 200 years old. Byakuya and Rangiku and all them boys and everybody there, bro, they're over like 300 years old, bro. Some of them are older than that. They've been around for like 1,000,000 years sometimes. Some of them like over 1,000 years. These dudes are old. So the fact that they've been up there that long and none of them, half of them don't got Bankai yet already. And then the ones that do aren't stronger than Ichigo. And then sometimes niggas can just train for a day and pull up and be strong as fuck. Like with Rukia and Renji, this, like I said, spoiler alerts, we're talking about 1,000-Year Blood War, not the manga stuff in game yet. I'm still talking about the anime, right? Spoiler alert though. Rukia and Renji, they get a Bankai just from one day of training. Now, he mentions that too.
I promise you, that's just it.
Let's speed forward a little bit though.
The captains of Bleach, they low-key talk. I ain't gonna lie. If you let Ichigo come in that bitch and sweep niggas up on episode 30 and shit, I don't care if he wouldn't got a training arc by Yoruichi them. No, you're trash. I don't care. Y'all niggas have been doing this for 50,000 years. Why'd y'all allow this? Number two, it don't make no motherfucking sense. Y'all niggas said that it takes 30,000 years to learn Bankai, or however long it took to learn Bankai back in the day. How is niggas learning these goddamn new moves and got them in 5 days? How? Who the fuck?
So now, and he's talking about that, and then they saying they start speaking about these people who are trying to dismantle him don't make any sense, okay? And this is the 1,000-Year Blood War. A lot of stuff that's happening now is going to be explained like it's always been the case, even though it's not. Like the fact that Kenpachi's connection with, I forget her name, that shit was never a thing, bro, okay? A lot of stuff, people don't want to accept it because they like to watch it now, and they're watching these videos, breaking stuff down, trying to make these false connections that they call foreshadowing. And albeit there is foreshadowing, Kubo planned a lot of shit from the beginning. And not a lot, but there's certain things he did plan from the beginning. But not all the way up to the 1,000-Year Blood War, I would say, right? So people have a lot of like, and yeah, he's rightfully criticizing stuff, right? So now, mind you, I'm about to start ranting here a little bit, but I want to start talking about the fact that what he's saying is not exactly just like him talking out of his ass right now. He can't barely articulate it. I don't want to say barely articulate, but he can't articulate it the exact way that he wants to. But the fact that him just watching the anime alone has this opinion, because that's how he honestly feels about what's going on with these characters and on screen. Once you naturally go from the original Bleach and you go from to the 1,000-Year Blood War, and you're actually still using your brain thinking about shit. Like he says in the video, like when I was a kid watching this shit, I wasn't thinking about power scaling and like, you know, all this other sort of character shit and all that. But that sort of stuff you think about now. So when you compare old Bleach to 1,000-Year Blood War, he can see that sort of things now. He can see those sort of like quote unquote flaws, right? Those inconsistencies or differences, those dramatic differences, right? Even back in the day, Ichigo doing his final Getsuga Tensho against Aizen, the people got a problem with that. Like it's just randomly a contrived plot device where he can just like pull up and just learn about something that was never existing. it can be referred to as what I'm about to talk about right now on screen, right? So a lot of the things that Mark is referring to that he probably, maybe he knows, maybe he doesn't, but, and no, this is not my first time learning the word, but I feel like this is completely relevant because this is the type of shit I've even spoken about to people I know with Bleach, right? The simple fact that during the whole 1,000-Year Blood War, everybody's power, this imagination power, I'm going to imagine that you can't defeat me until it's not convenient anymore. Like, how come you couldn't imagine he couldn't cut you in half? Because, oh, you were too busy imagining a meteorite? You know, or this person's power, everybody's power just like gets on some scale of like impossible. It just does the impossible. It surpasses the impossible. I'm going to use my imagination to do the impossible and nobody can defeat me. I'm going to use my power to just get so powerful nobody can defeat me. I'm going to get impossibly powerful. I'm going to do this and rewrite reality and make it so what you did doesn't, it's just a bunch of Deus Ex Machinas happening back to back in the story of Bleach, and not in the story of Bleach, in the 1,000-Year Blood War. Okay, and you can argue, like I said, the final Getsuga Tensho Ichigo was also a Deus Ex Machina, but you know, the shit that happens in the end of the story, I'm not going to spoil anything that happens in the manga, but the manga arc was rushed. Kubo did not know what he was going to do in the dead ending of the manga, right? And I was around. I was on Twitter back then in 2016, right? So let me get into the segment right here where I have these screenshots because I had to go back to the time hole, right? And get screenshots from 2016 when Kubo had returned back to Twitter because he left Twitter. He left Twitter for a reason right here, right? So let's see right here. Kubo quit Twitter once in the past due to certain that's not what that says, due to certain difficulties, but renewed a few weeks ago. Bleach ended 3 months ago. The feeling that there was still something that he needed to do was consistently on his mind. That's why, firstly, he'd like to use Twitter as a platform to say thank you to his readers, okay? Now, if you're familiar with any of my videos, I spoke about this slightly before, how Kubo was not pressured, but he kind of felt like I really have to end this. I gotta do this for a kid who sent him a letter claiming that he was sick and whatnot, right? I was joking around about it before, but it was a serious situation because the kid already did pass, right? So Kubo was getting sick also. Like, as you can see, you can pause the screen and read this whole thing here. I'm not going to read it all out for you because I already know what happens, but it's even crazy. Like, he was getting, let me side note right here, a little side note. He's getting letters from 78-year-old ladies too about Bleach and shit. That's kind of crazy. Even from like US and shit too, everywhere, right? But anyway, so Kubo was getting sick as well. And then, you know, Bleach was on it was getting on like not a decline, but like, you know, it was taking a lot of breaks and shit. And then it's like getting toward his final arcs. And he has to do something. He has to finish his story because it's been going on break. He's been getting sick and the story's been kind of wrapping up, right? So he ends up finding inspiration through this kid in the end because he didn't know how to finish it. He didn't know what he was going to do. He couldn't really do it. He was taking breaks back to back. So he even posted the whole fucking thread of the pictures that he drew reflecting what was happening and the panels of the kid being sick, watching Bleach and shit like that, and, you know, only having 18 months to live and shit like that. He did the whole thing. So this is true. So I hate when a lot of people try to say, no, that never happened. Kubo finished Bleach. Yeah, he finished Bleach the way he wanted to, in the sense that even the child said, like, yo, I want you to just do what you felt was right. Kubo did what he felt was right. But does that mean that's what he always wanted to do? He had multiple options. He had multiple choices for an ending. He didn't know what ending and what choice to do. He just did what he felt was satisfying at the time, okay? And Kubo and a lot of other people even hope, you know, that even back then, they hope like whenever it gets adapted into an anime that Kubo would be able to like fix up the things that he had done in the story because it felt so rushed and all that. This is another post from a year later of people talking about it on the thread that I happened to encounter. Okay, why am I showing you these pictures of the manga reactions back in the old days, because it's kind of reflective of what's happening now. There's a lot of people, 'cause it's the same story, right? Albeit, you can argue that the manga version was worse because there's a lot more rushed things and plot holes and stuff like that, like inconsistencies. Just the simple fact that like a character like the Soul King, by the way, who's like a retcon, there's no signs of him ever existing until he existed, right? And there's a lot of problems and plot holes around the things that he does. But there was even inconsistencies, like the fact that when he first appeared in the manga, I'm pretty sure he had like a full body. And then later on, he's just appearing as like this floating torso thing or some shit, right? Whatever. And how can he even do his job being sealed away in a crystal? Who sealed this nigga away? There's a lot of questions, a lot of plot holes. I'm sure the anime kind of like salt and peppered hints and seasoning in there for people to try to guess at. But Kubo even said, I don't know if I screenshotted this, but Kubo even said that his writing style is like, he likes to do shady things in the story. Like he liked to do something really vague and like a plot point or some sort of thing, so then he can leave room for him to just give it some sort of answer later. And even if he doesn't have a plan for that thing. So when people try to deeply analyze things and say foreshadowing, it's kind of funny because some things he just does for no reason, and then he gives you an answer later for that thing, and it might not even have anything to do with what you think was foreshadowed. Okay, so a lot of people do that. The Soul King's role, there's a lot of stuff. All right, I can rant on and on about Bleach. Like I said, I had a video like this. I did not know how I wanted to do it. I feel like doing it this way wasn't too bad, right? Let's hear some more that he said.
Right?
Because I don't remember what else he said.
That now, back to Squad Zero. Squad Zero was cold as fuck. I love their entrance and everything.
Yeah, he's talking about the anime, Thousand Year Blood War.
Uryu, you're the cappest character in all of anime. Uryu.
He's talking about characters later
I didn't read
on, how
them
he gets power. Then there's more shit later. I'm not even gonna talk about that because what he's saying right there, I feel like, is even a stronger statement later. But like, you know, like I don't even know what else to speak about, bro. I feel like the title of this video speaks for itself. If you got any questions down below, comment them down below, bro. Okay, let's see if there's any comment here specifically that I can like break apart. Some of these people realize that it's true, but some people like they're just talking. I feel like a lot of these people that are talking are just like, look at them, 7 Deadly Sins. They're just people who newly started watching anime, and all they watch is action anime, and they think that this is peak Bleach because it has super amazing action, beautiful action too, by the way, amazing, beautiful action, and yeah, it's still Bleach characters, so the powers are amazing. It's cool. RDC just doesn't understand power scaling. Like a lot of these people just say things, okay? I don't even know like if there's any comment specifically to break apart. Did you break apart during? Okay, no. He said, did you pay attention during the show? He didn't get a random power up that put him above Squad Zero. See, like, I hate when people try to say, did you pay attention? And then they just sit there and say exactly what happened in the show. No, we saw what the fuck happened in the show. The fact of the matter and the problem is that it's kind of feels like an ass pull. That's what it is. Why don't you explain to him why it's not an ass pull instead of just sit there and try to explain something to somebody using exactly what the show is saying. That's why he packed up whatever his name is. Ichigo bodied him, and Renji's always taking L's. Like, nigga, you're not even really explaining anything, bro. And by the way, Renji got extra fight scenes that weren't even in the anime. So it's just the simple fact that, like, this arc was rushed. It was rushed. It's a rushed story. They can patch it up, but it is a rushed story. Some people realize it, some people don't. I wanted to make a little quick video putting that thought and discussion even out there in the atmosphere because, man, this like it's not a big problem. Like I said, it's not a world-breaking problem, but Bleach's like power scaling, feeling like, whoa, what the fuck, in the beginning is true. Orihime is super fucking diesel. She don't even get used, but she has the power to undo and reject like reality basically and shit like that, right? So like it's just crazy. You know what I'm saying? So It's just a lot of stuff that's all over the place. The pacing for the final arc is a main problem, and there's a couple things that happen left and right during that final arc that it's just like, man, like even in anime, some of it's happening right now. Certain characters have popped up, like the Valkyrie guy, who looks like Thor. His powers he is a Deus Ex Machina, bro. All these people have Deus Ex Machinas, bro, and they're just contrived and convenient powers that just make them so strong until another convenient strong power pops up to take that one out. It happens left and right, bro. Left and right. It happens left and right, bro. Like it happens all the time, but these dudes have just strong powers, like for no reason. It happens all the time, and Kubo started doing that a whole lot in these last 2 arcs of his story, because I think he did that a lot in his the Fullbringer arc. But we're not going to talk about the Fullbringer arc because that arc is bad too. It's worse than this one, but it is still. They're both still like they still have problems. Okay, let's say that. Because I can't say they're both really, really bad. The 1,000-Year Blood War, I feel like, while reading it for the first time back in 2015-16, it was bad. Especially with the feeling of it being rushed and then the lackluster-ness that you're not going to experience watching it through the anime. So the anime does everybody a favor, honestly. The story, the anime, and this is why it's so important for me to talk about the manga of it being bad too, because it's the fucking source material, bro. It's the fucking source material. The anime is going to have the same exact fucking story. People are going to see some of the same exact fucking holes in the story if they're not so blinded and just seeing amazing animation and cool shit happening on screen, and the fact that Bleach is back. That's the thing that blinded a lot of people, I think, from realizing that this was like,
faking it and
like a lot of these characters, you know what I'm saying, switched up type shit.
He probably faking it. I don't know.
In this 1,000-Year Blood War, bro.
I didn't read the manga, but I'm gonna say this.
Like, even so, I didn't even.
Ain't no way he should have got a power boost. I don't care if he drunk your walk blood. You ain't gonna convince me. That nigga should not have got a power boost to Ichigo level. I don't care if Ichigo holding back or not. They got Oryu wiping everybody. He beat the Squad Zero Bankai. What? You talking about the niggas who are tagged?
See, now look, and then somebody's gonna be like, bro, Mark, you weren't watching the show. He beat the Squad Zero Bankai because he had the power of the A, blah, 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 and the A and the Almighty, and then you watch released this, like, bro. Like, look at that. He said he's gonna be his, bro. That's not enough, bro. It doesn't make fucking sense for the character to jump up in that much power just because other characters are telling him, oh, you're strong, you're going to be my successor. Like, that's not how that's supposed to work. That's not how a natural progression of a character's power scaling should work. That's the problem, bro. So you can sit there and explain it, saying things that we all fucking know because we watched the show, and then the show also gives us, like I said earlier, the show is going to give you reasons for shit and act like this was the case the whole time. It's going to give you a reason for shit. It's going to give you some brand new reason for some shit that was never existing or should not be, and it's going to just slide it in there and make it natural to fit, and so the story can keep on moving forward. That's how this shit happens, and that happens a lot during the 1,000-Year Blood War. Once you start to see it for like that and for what it is, then maybe that'll you wean off of how saying that it's peak Bleach and all this other shit. That's not true, because Bleach is some peak shit, but this is not peak Bleach, and this is not like, just like I said, it's not like the worst shit ever. And then the problems that are there don't make it the worst shit ever, but those problems do exist. You can't act like they don't. It's true. Those problems can exist just as much as you being mad at other, like the side characters not being used anymore in Naruto or Dragon Ball or some shit, like, and there could be a reason for it. Oh, they're not as strong anymore. Well, how come they want to try to have these niggas fight now when Moro pull up? And they got, because they got niggas who go on their level, right? So, nigga write that all the time. That's a digression side point though. You see my point? Like, it doesn't have to be the case. Uryu didn't have to just be fucking strong because the Almighty told him he was strong, and they gave him a little bit of power boost with the, like, it doesn't have to be that way. It could have been more of a training thing, or some shit like that, or a technique to boost. It could have been something. They don't even have to be at this scale. They don't have to be at this scale for new enemies to be a threat. They don't have to. Everybody don't got to be universal power and dropping meteorites out the sky and bending reality and warping time and changing niggas' minds and shit like that with the swipe of a blade. Like, it doesn't have to be that. But this video is going on for too long. I'm gonna stop this video right here. Let me know what y'all think in the comments down below, because I genuinely think this to be the case. And as you can see, I have a lot of Bleach thumbnails. I mean, not thumbnails, like screenshots. This is my Bleach folder, or a part of my Bleach folder. You can pause this one too. This is a pretty good one right here. Okay, you can pause this one. He's talking about how Kubo didn't like how the anime changed a lot of his script, because it's like, bro, this is my work. I would like it to reflect my work. So the anime is changing the manga, and the author didn't like that because it's not the same story to some extent anymore. And, you know, and the story is good for what it is, because it is what it is. Okay, as roundabout as that sounds, that's exactly what makes the story good. Bleach is good because it's Bleach. What makes Bleach Bleach are the things that make it Bleach. You can't rewrite the things that make it Bleach and expect it to still be as good. Okay, so I'll have a whole video going through a Q&A. It's probably going to be an edited video. It'll be better than this one. I just had to get these thoughts out of here. I might even remake this video, honestly, because chances are a lot of people might not even see this. I might remake it, and I'll talk about the same topic with the same kind of thumbnail and title. You know, Bleach 1000-Year Blood War is underrated, ? Something like that. But you know what, I'm out. Leave a comment, do what you gotta do, or don't. I'm out.